All right. So before we move on, let me introduce myself. I'm Preethi here. I'll be the instructor for this DevOps online training. And coming to myself, like I have more than 14 years of experience into IT. I started my career as a developer, then worked as a tester, build engineer, and then worked as a DevOps consultant and as a DevOps lead. Right now, I'm working as a DevOps lead, managing multiple projects. And my experience will help you explore the reality of DevOps, how to execute and implement DevOps from end to end. And apart from this, I also have experience on trainings for DevOps. I'm into trainings from almost more than 7 years, particularly for online trainings for DevOps, and have conducted corporate trainings as well. And I have passion for training, which made me take up this course for you. So this is brief about myself, and you can check out my profile on LinkedIn as well and get in touch with me. And to understand you better, would like to know about your requirements, about your profile and all. We'll talk about if you have any concerns or if you want to discuss anything, we'll take up this discussion at the end. If you have any questions, you can directly call me or we can take up those questions at the end of the class. And now let me explain you the agenda of this course. The main agenda of this course is completely like a job-oriented training. Like this course will help you see the real side of DevOps with the practical scenarios. Like end-to-end scenarios will be executed. We'll show you how to set up the lab and do the hands-on at your own pace. Hands-on is a mandatory and important for DevOps. So we'll help you how to do that hands-on and you'll get a complete support when you are doing the hands-on from our end. That's how you explore and you learn and you gain confidence. So, like I said, this will help you see end-to-end scenarios on DevOps on multiple projects. We'll be building CI/CD pipelines end-to-end. Lot of assignments will be there every day. And if you visit our website, I believe you might have gone through our website. There's a separate quiz portal which you need to take up at the end of the class daily. Like today, we have spent 1 hour. You should be taking a quiz which is available in the quiz portal, and you can come back to me for any questions and all. The quiz is to reiterate the concept, revise and register the concepts better. Right? Please keep muted, everyone. Unless you have a question, please keep muted. I'm having some background noise. If you have any question, unmute and speak out. Otherwise, please keep muted. So, yeah, that's how the course will be. Every day you'll have a quiz assignments which you need to complete by before you join the next day. Right? We have well-designed, structured course that will help you switch your career to DevOps. Let's say you are completely from a different background. This course will help you for beginners, for completely people from different background as well. Because I assume that everyone is new and there are no prerequisites and will take up any topic from the basics. Right? Assuming everyone is new and every concept is new, will take up from the basics to advanced concepts so that you can really explore, understand, and revise the concepts and also apply them in the interviews, like explain them in the interviews with confidence and also work in your projects independently. That's the main essence of the course. By now, you might have known how huge the DevOps market is, or else how overwhelming the DevOps concepts are. So focus on one thing. I would suggest for the coming next 2 months, please focus on the course. Don't get overwhelmed or diverted by seeing this and that over the internet. There are plethora of tools, plethora of things that talks about DevOps. Here we'll discuss how do you understand the job description, how do you apply for those jobs, which job suits you, how to prepare tailor-made resumes for which suits your particular requirement, which you suits your profile. All of that will be handled by our team. So you can just stay focused for 2 months, which will help you achieve your goal and your dreams. So that is all I can say. So with this brief note, let's begin. Let's discuss the agenda of today's class, right? Quizzes after the class gets over. Correct, Sumit? Once the class is done, you can take up the quiz. How to do all of that? Okay, you will be taken through all of that process, so you can stay relaxed. So now let's begin talking about today's agenda. Any questions you have, you can unmute and speak out, or else you can message in the chat window. It's up to you, but let's make the session interactive. I would like people to speak up, to share your inputs. So what is for today? Let's see. So today we'll be talking about big picture of DevOps. Like we'll get an overview or else a big picture of DevOps. Here you might be, some of you might be aware of what is DevOps, what happens there and all. Some of you might be completely new. We'll try to have a big picture of what is DevOps. We'll talk about roles and responsibilities of a DevOps engineer. Delivery pipeline, like what is a CI/CD pipeline, which DevOps teams would be talking about. What are all the tools and skills we'll be learning in this course. Right? These are the topics we'll be covering today. So let's begin with what is DevOps. Like I said, we'll assume everyone is new or the concept is new and we'll begin from the start, like from the basics. So let's start with what is DevOps. Before I begin, can I go on? Are you all in and set? Am I loud and clear? Can I go ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Appreciate your quick responses. All right. Yeah. So let's talk about DevOps. DevOps, by seeing this term itself, we can understand it's a combination of development and operations. Every one of us know what is development and operations, but let me give a quick one-liner about development. Development is nothing but where people write the code, where people work on designing the application, developing the application. Basically, they are called programmers or else people who write the code, right? Or developers, whatever you call them. Yeah, they write the code or they develop the application. And ops team are the ones who look after the infrastructure. In simple, infra management. Again, what is meant by infra management? They will take care of the servers, services running on those servers, networks, network connectivity, access, logins, all of that will be taken care by ops team. In simple, infrastructure management may be taken care by ops team. Who are the people that comes under this operations, like who take care of all of this? Like admins or network technicians, right? DBA, all of them may fall under operations, ops teams, correct? Now let's have a look at how they work. Like I said, developers write the program, develop the application, build the application, right? Let's suppose they need some new operating system or else a change in the OS or else they need a new service to be running, right? They are not supposed to make all these changes. Okay, they would request these changes from ops teams. Am I correct? And ops teams should serve their requests. And of course, one more thing, I'm including QA testers also into this development. When I say development, I'm including testers also, like QA people who test the application. So whenever they need any changes, they would request the ops teams and ops teams would serve the request. Let's take a simple example. Okay, development team need a service, a new service. So ops teams have to configure it, have to make sure the service is running. But to do this, ops team have to do lot of checks. They have to perform lot of checks because this change should not make any server, it should not interrupt any connectivity, right? All the networks should be stable. All the servers should be up and running. All the services should be, the status should be running. So they will make lot of checks before they serve the request. Even though they'll do all these checks, if something goes wrong, they should be ready to handle it, right? Ops teams should be ready to handle it. Means ops teams always look for stability in the infrastructure, right? What may happen, whatever changes they need, they always make sure the infrastructure is stable. Whereas developers and QAs, they need agility to the infrastructure because they have to test something, they have to develop something. They will be always checking for agility, right? Like they need some new changes to do to perform their task. So this is how they are working. And ops team doesn't understand why developers are always requesting something which they are not sure of. Similarly, developers think that ops teams are taking too much time to serve the request because these two are separate teams. Developers and operations are separate teams. Developers core skills, their areas of competencies are different, correct? And ops teams have got different skills. Their areas of competency are different, and developers can't understand why ops teams is taking too much time to serve their request. Similarly, ops team doesn't understand why developers are requesting all of these changes every time, right? So even though they were trying to serve the request, there is a lot of gap between these two teams, right? Because of no proper understanding, no proper collaboration, correct? How to overcome this gap between the teams? How can we make these teams collaborate and work together? That's the first challenge we have. See, whenever we are learning something, first you should learn why you need this, why this came into picture. Then you should know what it is. Correct? So we are trying to understand why DevOps came in. First reason is to overcome the gap between the teams, right? So DevOps came in to eliminate the gap between the teams so that teams can work together with a proper collaboration, with a proper understanding. But how is that possible? We will discuss how. Okay, we will also discuss how that's possible. But first, let's learn. Yeah, that's the first reason. Is that the only reason why DevOps came in? There were many other reasons why DevOps came in. The second reason is without DevOps, like in the traditional approach, developers will write the code. They will send the code to testers. Testers will test it. This process keep on repeating till the application is defect free. Correct? Till the application is completely ready, till the application is bug free, defect free. Once it is bug free, this dev and QA team will hand over the application to ops teams, operations teams. In the traditional approach, I'm talking about without DevOps, right? So, okay, application is ready. They will hand over this application to operations teams. Now, operations teams have to get the server ready to deploy this application. They have to make the server ready. They have to make all the softwares on the server compatible to the app, isn't it? Let's suppose this is some Java app, and this Java app needs Java 11. So they have to make sure Java 11 is there on the server. All other supported softwares like maybe Tomcat, whatever, all the dependencies, requirements of the software should be there. Operations would be working on these compatibility softwares. They should make the server up and ready. Then only the application is live. Means then only the end users can use the application. But which version of Java is needed? Developers know that because it's their application. Which version of Tomcat they need? All of that information will be provided to ops teams. Means they'll also provide some instruction document along with the application, right? Ops teams would go through the document, set up the infrastructure and servers. Sometimes this document may not be working, or else this document may not be clear to ops teams. The instructions, commands may not be working. They have to figure out, troubleshoot everything and set the application up and running, which may take months, right? Let's say application is ready by this September. It may go for deployment in December after 3 months because all the deployment environment should be ready by ops teams manually, right? Not only that, they should also take care of high availability of the application. They should see there is no downtime and it's highly available, right? If something goes wrong, they should be able to bring the application back. They should take care of all of that. And this process is very slow, means deployment is very slow process. How can we pick up the speed of the application? Isn't it? How to automate or else how to accelerate the deployments, how to accelerate the speed of deployment so that end users see the new features every day or regularly, right? So to overcome this problem, again, DevOps came in. Okay. And what else? Do you remember the software or traditional development methodology which served the industry for decades? I'm talking about SDLC. SDLC means Software Development
Waterfall.
Lifecycle, which has a sequence of activities involved in development. Means there were different phases like requirement gathering, requirement analysis, design, coding, testing, delivery, and maintenance, right? These are the different phases involved in developing an application, and all these phases goes one after the other in one direction. By now, you might have identified this is a waterfall methodology. I'm talking about waterfall methodology, a typical methodology, and this served the industry for decades. See, you don't need to learn what is SDLC, what is waterfall and all. Just an overview will help you appreciate the importance of DevOps. Okay, so I'm just talking about waterfall methodology, which is a very old methodology. This served the industry for decades, more than 20 years, but it has got so many challenges both dev team and ops teams faced. What are the challenges a dev team faced because of this waterfall methodology? Anyone?
It has to wait from one phase to another. And if some mistake happens, it has to start from again requirement.
Exactly. See, as the name says, it just goes in one direction. Let's suppose you are in coding. Client cannot come back with new requirements or modify the requirements. Requirements will be freeze. No point of going back. And also, it's very slow methodology. Let's say development is completed now, it would be going for deployment after 6 months or so. Meanwhile, developers will be working on some new code. Testers test the old code and come with the bugs in the old code. Working with the new code and fixing the bugs in old code at the same time will be too challenging for developers. Also, it's not flexible. Like we discussed, you can't go back. But nowadays, almost all the clients comes with the requirements, uh, keep on modifying the requirements, comes with the new requirements always. It's a business changing world, customer facing world. Business changes always. But in waterfall, let's say you got the requirements in 2022, you don't accept anything in between and deliver it after 2 years, 2024. In between, business might have changed completely. If you don't accept the modifications in between, it doesn't work in reality, right? It's not flexible, not flexible. Okay. Also, complete software will be delivered after 2 years, right? People can't wait for 2 years without any modifications. It doesn't work, right? So these are the some of the challenges faced by developers. Ops teams also face challenges because this methodology is slow and you need to maintain the servers, the environment up and running for longer duration. Maintaining servers running for longer duration manually is obviously a challenge. Also, poor configuration management. The configuration management is a separate concept. We have separate tools for configuration management like Ansible, Puppet, Chef, Salt, and so on. We will discuss the concept of configuration management separately. We have a separate chapter allocated to it. But just understand here in simple, you need to have a clear understanding on what is present on which server, like what configurations are happening on what server at what time. This kind of configuration management is important, which is missing here because of everything happening manually, no tools used there, right? Also, no proper monitoring. If there are 5 servers, you may monitor them manually. But what if you have 5,000 servers? What if you want to know the health of their services, health of the resources availability? I mean, the resources availability on those servers, all of that, or the health of the application. How do you monitor without a monitoring tool, right? These are the challenges faced by both developers and ops teams because of this waterfall methodology. How to overcome these drawbacks?
Agile.
To overcome these drawbacks, another methodology came in actually in between. There's another methodology called Agile methodology. But Agile was successful to overcome drawbacks of developers. But drawbacks faced by operations teams were still there, right? Then how to overcome challenges? We need a methodology which can overcome challenges of both. How is that possible? That's where again DevOps came in. But before we go to DevOps, let's talk about the Agile methodology is successful to a certain extent, but how is it successful? Like, how can it overcome challenges of developers? Let's talk about that. Agile was successful to overcome challenges of developers because Agile implemented continuous development, continuous testing, and continuous development, continuous testing, and continuous integration. What is meant by that? To understand this, let me take a very simple example. We have separate concepts of continuous integration and all in the CI/CD pipelines. Here I'm trying to give you a brief. Let's say it's a week 1. Developers will develop the code in chunks. Let's say a part of code A was developed. On week 2, this particular chunk of code A will be tested. Meanwhile, developers are not sitting idle on week 1. Or else on week 2, developers would be developing another chunk of code called B. On week 3, at some point of time, both of them will be combined and tested, which makes the complete product, right? Means what is happening, if you observe, every week, both testing and development is happening. Means continuous development, continuous testing. What is the advantage of it? The advantage is any new requirements, any modifications can be handled because this process keep on continuing. It's not that after development testing begins. No, it's all happening parallelly, iteratively, continuously, right? Because of this, in Agile release, there was a release every week or every alternative week. It's not that complete software will be delivered after 2 years. It will be delivered every 15 days so that you can take the feedback, modify them, reiterate the changes, and this process keep on continuing, right? So there'll be continuous release. Bug fixing became faster because it's not that testing is done after 6 months. Let's say code is developed last week. This week it will be going for testing, right? So bug fixing became faster. There were releases, continuous releases, right? Always software will be developed in parts, we can say, right? Because of this continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, always the product is, the code is stable and ready for release because we were doing this process for every bit of code, right? So Agile overcome the challenges of developers, but operations was still there. Is it clear? Can I go ahead, or any questions in this part from anyone?
Ma'am, can you give an example like how we deliver weekly, like you said, week 1, week 2 in real time?
How we will deliver, we'll see that. Okay, how you deliver, we have to create CI/CD pipelines for it. We will have automated pipelines. CI/CD pipelines means continuous integration, continuous deployment pipelines through which we'll implement it. We need to do hands-on on this, which we'll be doing in the course. These pipelines will help you achieve that.
Okay, thank you. Actually, I expected like some real-time example. If you take any web application, how do you do that? You
We
said
will
like
do that definitely. We are going to implement this CI/CD on multiple applications, not only on a web application. We'll do it on a microservice application, in a monolithic and different applications. We'll do that. Example is any application. Here I would have saying that like it's an online shopping application. Let's take any online shopping application. Every week, developers will write the code for login module. They'll test the login module. In the same week, they'll be developing other modules like credit cards and all of the code. Let's say this week they'll be releasing some functionality. They'll release it to end users. Next week, the next functionality would be merged, integrated, and tested and delivered. We will definitely do the hands-on and multiple application, but what is happening is, this is what is the process here. The Agile methodology will help in releasing the application every week or every alternative week. Like I said, a login module. Let's say you take a login module, or if it's online shopping application, cart module, products module, billing module, and so on. So every week, let's say you have got some requirement on products catalog. So some requirements were developed here, they'll be tested, and this particular module will be released this week. Next week, they might be coming with the feedback, bugs on that particular login module that will be fixed along with other new functionality. This happens continuously. Development is happening continuously. Testing is happening continuously, and continuous integration, like any code will be merged into the system and tested. So this is what is the continuous integration, continuous development and testing. We will see practically all of that. We will develop them on multiple applications, right? How this goes and all, we'll see. So Agile was successful to this extent, but we need a methodology which can handle, which can overcome challenges faced by both developers and testers, right? How is that possible again? This is possible through automation. How to do that automation, we will learn. So these are some of the reasons why DevOps came in, right? These are all the challenges which will be handled by DevOps. So what is DevOps now? What is DevOps? See, DevOps is nothing but a methodology, a software methodology, a process in which you'll have continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. The term continuous is important. Continuous important means it's happening parallelly, iteratively, right? All of this happens one by one, continuously, parallelly, right? That is what is DevOps. Like what is missing in the Agile? If you try to compare these methodologies, like the traditional methodologies, like software development lifecycle, or else a waterfall methodology, let's say waterfall, and then we discussed about Agile, and then DevOps, right? What is the difference? Let's see. In waterfall, you have development. After development, you have testing. After testing, you have deployment, and then monitoring, right? One after the other. But in Agile, they were happening parallelly, like continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, but deployment was again manual after all of this process, and then monitoring. But then DevOps came in, where you have continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. Meaning every change developers make, developers are ready. This will go through the entire process. Means whoever are involved in this process of complete automation can be a DevOps engineer. Means from the desk of a developer. Okay, this is a developer where they wrote some code. Once developer is ready with the code, you can take this code till production table through the complete process of automation. This process of automation is called DevOps. Of course, we call them as CI/CD pipelines, continuous delivery, deployments, and so on. Right? This process of automation is called DevOps. In this process of automation, like who can do it? How to do this process of automation? You should know the DevOps tools. You should know the DevOps strategies, right? Whoever know the DevOps tools and strategies, who can automate this complete process is nothing but a DevOps engineer, right? So let's suppose you are a developer. You might be having a question, I'm a developer for 14 years, right? Let's say I want to switch to DevOps. Like where do you fit in? You fit in here. After development means developers are still there. That's a separate team who write the code, who develop the code. Once code is ready, a DevOps person should go through all this process and implement CI/CD pipelines and take the code to production. This is where a DevOps engineer comes in. Anyone interested in this automation process can work as a DevOps engineer. So what is DevOps? DevOps is nothing but continuous process of improvement, continuous process of implementation with accelerated deployment speed. Have you ever wondered, you might be using so many online applications, right? You might be using so many online applications in your daily life, like a shopping application, net banking applications, and so on. Right? You can see a new feature tonight. Overnight, you can see a feature, isn't it? How quickly they were deploying. How is that possible? Because of DevOps. Majority of the companies, almost all gigantic companies are implementing DevOps. And smaller companies, mid-scale companies are also trying to implement this approach. In coming a couple of years, every company will step into it. Because see, why do you need it? Because it makes the deployments faster. Everything is automated, right? There is no gap in the sense teams who are working with a proper collaboration, because the things are happening continuously. They work closely. They understand the challenges of others. It's not that DevOps person should go and write the code. No, there is still separate developer team. There is still separate tester team, but they are working with a proper collaboration, proper understanding to create this CI/CD pipelines. Initially, to create this CI/CD pipeline, you may need more people, but once the pipeline is created, next, with a single trigger, the trigger would be developer write the code, the entire process would be automated, right? This is called DevOps. The whole process would be automated. Means initially more people, later on you don't need those much people. Means everything is been automated. So it's a right time to invest your time and learn such tools which are having good demand in the market. The strongest will survive in the market in near future. Any questions from anyone in this part? Shrikant, in DevOps, you have continuous deployment and continuous monitoring as well, which is missing in Agile methodology. And here the complete process automated through CI/CD. Every change developers make can hit the production servers automatically without manual intervention. It sounds risky and dangerous, isn't it? But yes, DevOps makes these things possible. There are many companies implementing it. Particularly, Facebook is the best example which implements continuous deployments. Means any feature developed by developers will hit the production servers automatically. Automatically in the sense, of course, it will go through every process of testing in lower environments than in the product, than in the pre-prod and then to prod. Right, but the whole process is automated, and that's why it's very fast. You can see the new features reaching end users very quickly. That's how business is nowadays. So now that we understood why DevOps came in and like what is DevOps, we have understood that's continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous monitoring, and continuous deployment and continuous monitoring. Of course, how is this possible? By use of the tools, right? By automating the entire process. How to implement it? That's what we'll be learning throughout the course. Creating pipeline take couple of months. We'll be creating pipelines parallelly on multiple applications in this course so that you will see the end-to-end scenarios, challenges, and lot many things. Same tools are implemented in Agile also, Robin. But in Agile, the continuous deployment, the deployment part is still manual in Agile, which was automated through DevOps.
But CI/CD is only used for DevOps, right?
CI/CD complete automation is implemented in DevOps, right? In Agile, implemented to a certain extent, only deployments were not automated as frequently as regularly we do in DevOps. We don't have that pace or that resilience in Agile methodology.
The Jira and Jira is Agile methodology, right? Following.
Jira is a tool, okay, where it's like a tracker, issue tracker, where you can raise your tickets, create the tasks in Jira. It's irrespective any methodology. Agile people are using it. In DevOps, you can use it. Like you'll have so many tasks in Agile, in DevOps or in Agile. How do you get the tasks? They'll create the tickets in Jira. So Jira is the issue tracker. Irrespective of any methodology, Jira can be used.
Ma'am, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Is there any need or requirement to learn a programming language to be in DevOps?
Like I said, DevOps is a separate team. Developers, we have a separate team of developers still there. Okay, developers were still there. Testers were still there. Okay, you don't need to write the code as the developers do. We write the code to develop the infrastructure or to modify or configure our infrastructure. This coding is not the same like developers do. Okay, that is different. Web development, they write the logic, that's a different thing. Here you may call it as scripting. We do write some scripting, but you don't need to have prior understanding or prior knowledge about it. How to do this kind of scripting for our Terraform scripts, Kubernetes files, how to develop, we will learn. You don't need prior coding skills for it. I would not say it's a coding or development. It's just we have already the formats templates. You can modify them and use it.
Okay, and second thing is, ma'am, for overview point of view, everything was so clear. But the only thing is that if on even on small things, if we can get the real world examples, this will make more
Can
clear.
you please be a bit louder? Your voice is very low, maybe for me or for others also. I'm not sure. Can you please be a bit louder?
Yeah, sure. Sorry. The only thing is that if for understanding the small concepts too, if we can get the real world examples, that would be great for the next sessions.
Sureka, here today we were talking about what is DevOps. To understand what is DevOps, like I have given an example of an application. You may relate it to any application. We didn't dig into deep into the application. Okay, DevOps is definitely completely practical oriented. We don't have theory to discuss and learn here or by heart or mug up. Definitely whatever we were learning, definitely we are going to implement and do the hands-on so that you will get the exposure to all the real scenarios.
Okay, that
This is all what we have discussed, like what is DevOps, what is Agile, like why DevOps came in a kind of a theoretical part or an overview before we jump in, right? These are very important to have some understanding, like what is what, why do we need them before we move on, right? That's what we
Yes,
were
for
talking
the
about.
overview point of view, it was very nice. Thank you for that.
This is available as a presentation for you for later reference as well, so you can go through, okay, which will help you understand the like why DevOps came in and all. And yeah, we understood like what is DevOps, but practically we will see what is all of that. There's all differences between three methodologies which we discussed. Now let's talk about roles and responsibilities. Like what is a
Madam,
DevOps?
Madam, sorry. In the agile methodology also, we can adopt this monitoring piece, right? Why is so special in that DevOps methodology? In the agile also,
In monitoring, in Agile, you have a monitoring, but do you have continuous deployment, continuous delivery strategies there? Do you implement rolling updates, rolling updates, rollbacks automatically there? All of them were not available in Agile, right?
so all these checkpoints, just we are adopting it, right? So we
Yeah,
can
it's a
use it
methodology.
agile.
Mm.
Yeah, it's a methodology. In the same methodology, in the agile also, we can adopt all those things, right? Continuous
Then it is
automation.
DevOps, right? Yes, then it is DevOps methodology. That's what is DevOps methodology. Like you are improvising the Agile methodology with the continuous deployment development strategies. And also in Agile, we used to deploy or deliver the application in the traditional way. But now with the DevOps, the way the application was packaged and delivered to ops team also got changed to support the continuous deployment strategies. See, we were talking about, let me show you. Yeah. You have continuous development, continuous testing, continuous integration, continuous deployment, and continuous monitoring. Let me give you one more example because see, this is not the context. You may not be able to understand here, but let me give you small idea. Like I told you, developers and QA, once the application ready, they'll hand over the application to ops teams. This is without DevOps, right? And way they hand over the application, maybe let's say they were sharing some artifact here, right? And because of this, ops teams have to work on, means they have shared the artifact, they have to deploy it on some server, they have to check all the softwares, their versions, compatibilities, and configure the infrastructure for development, which takes a lot of time. But now even the way they share the application also got changed. Means the way they release the application to ops teams also got changed. Like earlier developers or testers, they would share the artifact. But now they were sharing the Docker image. Means the way they release the application also changed, which would support the next phase of continuous deployments, which is not happening in Agile, right? Just theoretically saying, yes, Agile is successful to this extent, it's lacking continuous deployment. So you said, yes, we can implement this also, it is Agile, it is DevOps. But like, what is different? Everything is different. In the first class, as an overview, I can say this got changed, but what exactly changed? If you go to each minor step, if you zoom into each section, this is how it is. For example, if you want to be much more specific, they used to share WAR file or jar file earlier, but now they are sharing Docker image. Because what is the advantage? Because of this, you don't need a separate ops team who will configure the servers. They'll be handing over to DevOps team. DevOps team don't know development. They don't need to write the code. But once they are having the Docker image, they don't need to work on software versions and all, because Docker image is application packing coming up along with the dependencies. Means theoretically, when you say talk about, okay, Agile is this and DevOps is this, you may not see much difference. But to implement this continuous deployment, the process, the way the application is packed, the way the application is delivered and deployed got completely changed. All of that comes in the hands-on, how you do it, how the difference comes in. When you see the hands-on, when you do the hands-on, you will really see the difference. I believe this is helpful for you to a certain extent.
Yes, thank you.
Right? So we just say continuous deployment, but how is it? When you do the hands-on, you will see the way the application is containerized, the way the application was released changed totally. If earlier, if they did release artifact, they have to install Java, Tomcat, they should see the versions, which would take a lot of time. The deployments were slow. But here, Docker image will have application and the softwares and the dependencies. They don't need to configure it, so deployments were faster. This is not possible in the Agile, right? Means the way of development, way of deployment completely changed, which we'll be learning with the hands-on in the course. Hope you got a better idea on.
Yes, ma'am.
See, the deployment process changed means lot many things might have changed. Here I would also, because I shared this thing, I would also like to share you a few more pointers. Now developers, whoever are there, might have got some clarity. Let's suppose you are a developer. You still want to be developer only. You have passion for development. You don't want to become a DevOps person. But still, you should learn DevOps. Why do you understand now? You should know how to pack your application, how to containerize your application, which suits deployments which suits the deployments in a DevOps fashion, right? So the point here is everyone, even though you want to continue as a tester, you want to continue as a developer, you still have to learn certain DevOps tools and strategies, particularly Docker. Everyone should know, right? When you know Docker, you should also know how it is deployed. Some idea, having idea is enough. So I would suggest everyone should learn it, because in some companies, like if you take some companies, there will be a DevOps team who will create this Docker image also. Developers need not, DevOps team will create it, they'll take care of everything. But in some projects, in some companies, developers will create this Docker image and share it to others. Or else in some companies, the same developers have to create CI/CD pipelines as well in some companies like startups and all. So as the methodology of deployment development is changing, it's very important everyone should know the process, right? All right then.
Hi, Preethi. I wanted to know what is the difference. So there's one more FinOps came in. So just wanted to know similarities
that?
in FinOps.
Hmm?
FinOps.
FinOps.
Yes.
FinOps, FIN ops.
Yes.
I haven't heard it, Karthik. FinOps. I have heard about like other things like DevSecOps or other things, but FinOps. See, like I said, there were so many things, plethora of things coming over the internet every day. Okay, many things were there. Focus on few things. You don't need to learn all of them. All of them are not implemented everywhere or anywhere. I don't know from where
Okay,
this
got it.
jargon is
Just
coming
I
up.
just wanted to know if there's any similarities or differences between DevOps and this FinOps. So
Like I said, yeah, please go ahead.
in my team, some juniors, they are getting training in this FinOps. So just wanted
Okay.
to. I work in a DC team only. So
Okay.
So yeah, these new guys, they're getting trained into this FinOps. So just wanted to know if there is any similarities or.
Yeah, like I said, Karthik, I don't have idea about FinOps. I haven't heard about it. But yeah, there were so many buzzwords coming around. You can understand, get to understand what is the context they were doing. So that helps us to understand better rather than by the name. If you know the context, what they were learning, what they were doing, that may help us.
Okay, got it.
Raghav, I'll share the course content and I'll take up the questions in few minutes. Meanwhile, let me walk you through this roles and responsibilities as well. 1 second, give me a second. So roles, like I said, roles are nothing but you will get the DevOps tasks, like a pipeline might be broken, or else we may have to add new stage in the pipeline. We may have to integrate new tools. We'll get all these tools. All these tasks. We need to be working on this CI/CD pipeline, configuring the infrastructure, right? These would be all the responsibilities of a DevOps person. Means once code is ready, once test cases are ready, from there, a task of a DevOps person begins. Right, developers, let's talk about an online shopping application. Developers are ready with a certain code. Let's say products module is ready. Okay, they have created the module, will create a catalog, will help you search. This is ready. Once this is ready, now developers have to take this feature to the production automatically, right? So those are the tasks you will be working on as a DevOps engineer. And these are all the tools we'll be learning in this course, like a version controlling tool like a Git, Maven, Jenkins, Docker. Of course, you have huge content over Docker. Again, Docker Compose, Docker Swarm, right? And then we were learning Ansible, Terraform, Kubernetes, Prometheus, Grafana for monitoring, and AWS services, whichever needed for our DevOps. All of that will be covered. This is just a brief outline. You have the detailed course content on the website as well. I can also share you here in the Zoom chat after some time. So this is the brief content. See, like I mentioned, again, I would like to say there are hundreds of tools under each category as well. Like if you talk about version control tools, there were so many tools like Git, SVN, TFS, Perforce, so many are there. Okay, again, you don't need to confuse on which tool to learn, whether should I learn Git or SVN, why only Git. See, you learn one tool, you master one tool in the category, you can learn with any other tools very easily because the concepts, the tools would be similar. And the reason for choosing Git is very widely used. Okay, it is very famous tool, particularly the modern DevOps projects. Majority of them are using Git. Like I said, they were similar. If you learn Git, you can work with any other tool. So don't get overwhelmed or confused or deviated by seeing many things which is happening with DevOps. For sure, I agree, because a huge stack of tools, each project is using different things. So concentrate, focus on one tool so that you can work on other tools. Similar question would be there for cloud as well. Like we were implementing here, let me make this more clear. Here we are learning, the course is about DevOps. Okay, how you implement DevOps from end to end, like from different applications. How do you build a pipeline? Why do you use Git? Why do you use Docker? How do you containerize? All of that we'll see complete hands-on. Okay, this DevOps is a methodology, a process, and this can be implemented on-prem or on any cloud. It's not specific to cloud or on-prem. The way we are learning in my course, particularly, my course is designed in such a way that you can apply this DevOps, you can implement DevOps on any environment, particularly or on cloud or in any cloud. right? On-prem you can implement if you want, or else on any cloud you can implement. And here on-prem as well as I'm showing you on AWS. Okay, again, if you learn one cloud, if you know implementing DevOps on one cloud, others would be almost similar. Also, companies were expecting candidate to work, to have experience on one cloud. They were not looking for a candidate who is good with AWS, GCP, Azure, Linux, DigitalOcean, everything. They are expecting having experience, exposure to one cloud, and they are checking on flexibility, whether he can work with other clouds or not. As I sit in the interview panel, like we were looking for people who are flexible enough, who can work with other clouds very easily. Whether they can able to shift, whether they can able to mold themselves to other environments or not. Because see, learning all clouds is not possible, not required also. Today there is AWS, tomorrow there might be another cloud coming up, who knows? There were private clouds also in the companies. It's not that it's always Azure or it's always AWS. No. Tomorrow something might be coming up. It's not that you will say, I don't know this cloud, I know only AWS. Companies are looking for people who are flexible to explore and get into the new technologies. That's how DevOps, particularly DevOps, because DevOps is a stack of tools. Tools keep on changing, but the concepts, your attitude to learn the things, to mold yourself, to get acquainted to new environments, that's what is companies looking for. So learn one cloud. You don't need to learn all the cloud services, hundreds of them. This is a cloud. This is a DevOps course, like a DevOps on AWS or on-prem. DevOps means you can implement on any platform, irrespective of the platform. That is the main agenda here.
Sorry to. Hello.
Yes, please tell me.
So we are going to learn both on-premise and AWS, right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, how to use AWS, how to create an account on AWS, all of that we'll be learning here, Nandakumar. We'll not be doing anything on Azure, but if you do it on AWS, like I just now mentioned, you would be able to implement it on any cloud. That's how the course will be. That's how one should learn. And I'm coming to those questions. Yes, please.
Actually, first in a company, I do manual deployment. So that first we clone the code and we run the command for build ambient package, and then we put in Tomcat. The same thing in CI/CD pipeline. We have to make script like that. So you will teach how to write script in pipeline.
We will automate this process. We can automate this in multiple ways with it. Firstly, instead of installing Tomcat separately and all, we will containerize the app, which is the best practice. Okay, we will do implementing the best practice. We'll container the application itself. MVN will be running in the container itself. You pack the application and deploy the application. Yes, we are going to do that in the CI/CD pipelines by using the scripts, by using containerization. Many tools will use.
Also, ma'am, a container secret you will make a container file, a Docker file.
Yeah.
Okay. All things can be integrated in Jenkins.
Yes.
You will make through Jenkins.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so these are all the tools, and for these, like some of the tools, we definitely need Linux environment. Okay, Linux is the environment we'll be using most of the times. So if you are completely new to Linux, again, you don't need to worry. We'll be taking Linux from the basics. It's just another environment, that's all. So we will learn Linux also in this course. Any more questions on these tools? Can I navigate from this page? All right.
Linux comments also required. Linux comments also required to learn. So.
Yes, Sumit, Linux basics are required. We'll be learning it. Okay, like how to work on a Linux environment, all of that we will learn.
Ma'am, we will be using the GitHub or GitLab?
GitHub.
GitHub. तो GitLab भी same है GitHub जैसे?
Same like Bitbucket, GitHub, Bitjam, these are same.
Okay.
Veerabhadra and everyone, yes, tell me please.
Because some projects use GitLab, some projects use Bitbucket as a storage.
Because they are all similar. Yes, that's what I'm saying. If you know GitHub, Bitbucket, GitLab, GitHub, these are all similar. Even in my older projects, I used GitHub. Now you are using Bitbucket. They were all similar. If you know one, you can work on other tools, isn't it? The same applies here as well.
Yeah, definitely.
They were all similar, isn't it?
No, yeah, but we have to clone it, ma'am, only.
URL changes, right? Your clone command doesn't change.
Yes, ma'am, yes, ma'am.
All right. So let's talk about this CI/CD pipeline. This is the pipeline I'm talking about from the beginning. Okay, you can see here, this is the tool chain. Like you will have the CI/CD pipeline end to end created in the course. See here, I'll just give you an overview. Okay, this will take some months, some days to get to this stage, but let me give you an overview. I'll take up other questions. There were other questions in the chat. I'll come to those questions in a few minutes. Let me just walk you through this. See, developers are writing the code and place it on Git, a version control system. Once they write the code, DevOps person will create the CI/CD pipeline such that it will pull the code and build it using some build automation tool like Maven, execute the test cases written by testers. There is a separate team of testers who will write the test case, maybe in Selenium or JUnit or UFT, whatever it is, that's a different call. Run those test cases in the pipeline and deploy it. Continuous deployments using Docker, Kubernetes, Ansible, Terraform. Of course, these are for configuring or provisioning the infrastructure and then monitoring it with Prometheus and visualize the metrics through Grafana. That is just in 1 minute. Okay, the pipeline, I have just given a one-liner for the pipeline. This is the complete CI/CD pipeline we'll be creating in this course end to end, not only just on one application. We will do it on Java application. We will do it on a microservice applications as well. And another application will be given for you to do the hands-on. I believe that will help you all, right? That's what you need. Complete hands-on begins from tomorrow. Here, see, the agenda will be first we'll be learning each tool. Tomorrow we'll start with Git. We will master this one. Once we master it, then we'll start Maven. We will create pipeline till this part. Means as we go by, we will zoom into each section. We will learn Git from basics till advanced concepts so that you can master any interview questions on Git and you can handle anything on Git on your own. Then Maven, then Jenkins, and so on. Right? How to execute the test case. Then we'll zoom into this section, then this part, and then this part, and so on. We'll zoom into each section. We'll spend a couple of days, weeks on each tool, master them, add it to the pipeline. So this pipeline creation would take a couple of months, which we'll be working on this course. Okay, this pipeline would be created irrespective of the platform. Means I may be using some AWS EC2 instances. The same can be implemented on any on-prem as well. Any questions here? Yes, Nandakumar, it will be 2 months. Course will be for 2 months. What all tools will learn under AWS? Veerabhadra, I'll share you the course content in few minutes where you can see all the AWS services we are learning.
Ma'am, we will also deploy microservices?
Yes, we'll deploy microservice application as well. Yes.
To Kubernetes.
In Kubernetes, yes.
Okay.
See
we will
here,
make a pipeline for microservices also.
Yes, we will create pipeline for microservice also using Kubernetes. End-to-end pipelines will be created. That's what I said in the beginning. You will see the real exposure of the implementation. It's not just you discuss and go on. Tomorrow onwards, hands-on begins. Everyone should be ready and be regular to the classes. Today, it's just an intro walkthrough. Yeah, if you have any questions, you can ask me. Before that, let me show you. Here are the quiz portal, which you need to go through and take up quiz every day. Here are the quiz for every tool. Also, I'm sorry.
Hi, Preethi, I'm Manish here. Hello.
Yeah, 1 second, please give me 1 second. I'll just, as I open the page, let me walk you. Here are the assignments as well, right? Apart from the class, you have additional assignments, interview-based questions, scenario-based questions, and different level of interview questions as well available here. And also the lab, like when you are doing hands-on to refer the commands, everything was also available in here. Also, you'll get the additional Google Drive access where you will get access to all the course content. And apart from this, I'm just trying to go through the course content. Course content, yeah, syllabus. Somehow syllabus is missing. 1 second, give me a second. Yeah, here it is. So some of you are asking about which services of AWS and all. Here are the list of services which we'll be discussing for AWS. Code build, code deploy, code commit, cloud formation. Also, these are all the services like VPC, EC2, S3, EBS, Elastic Beanstalk, and very important, I would say, EKS, Elastic Kubernetes Service, which is a paid service. It's actually a paid service, not a free service. Even that will be covered here with a complete exposure on auto scaling scenarios, rolling updates, rollbacks, auto scaling, all of that will be covered on this paid course. Paid service. It's up to you whether you will do hands-on or from your end or not, but I will be using this paid service also. I'll be explaining the paid service also in the course. No prerequisites, Nandakumar. You just join the class with your dedicated time, with open mind. Everything will be taken care of. We'll take care of everything. No prerequisites beforehand. Yeah, someone is asking a question. Can you please go ahead? Normal system would do, because we will be using our lab from AWS. You don't need to install anything on your system.
When the class will start at 6 a.m. or 6:15?
6 a.m. every day, sharp 6 a.m. it will start. As it is a day one, people will be struggling with the Zoom link and all. We gave some grace time, that's all. Every
6
day
a.m.
class will start.
7:30 a.m.
7:30.
Okay.
Yes. Any more questions from anyone? Okay, there is a question. If the CTC is 20 lakhs with 8 years experience, is it a valid scope to move to DevOps? So how can we showcase the knowledge of DevOps without having worked in last 8 years? This course will help you claim the experience, Sampath. You can claim 4 to 5 years experience. Of course, your expertise and practice can decide you how many years of experience you put. How to showcase that in a resume, how to prepare a tailor-made resume, how to explain your projects with respect to DevOps will help you understand. And remember, when you compare with any other technology right now in India or in abroad, DevOps is having huge market. Like when you, at least when you compare with other technologies and tools, also good pay scale. Everyday class recordings will be shared, Azharuddin. Yes.
How many days valid from that video?
Lifetime access. You will have access to recordings for lifetime. While practicing, if you have doubts, a question from Sumit, how can we connect? You will have a WhatsApp group created. Already one WhatsApp group is there, right? With registered students, another WhatsApp group means registered students will be moved to other WhatsApp group. A dedicated WhatsApp group where I'll be available for all the question solving. Like, of course, anyone can reply, respond. We can collaborate and do the hands-on. Yes, same Zoom link, Darshan. How to log in, how to set up your labs, all of that I'll help you with one by one. Okay, tomorrow you don't need AWS, we'll be doing on our Windows itself. Tomorrow hands-on begins for Git. How to set up your Git and all on Windows we will do. As the context comes, we will learn the concepts. It's not that because AWS is there, let's go and set up AWS tomorrow. When the need comes, when the actual requirement comes, we'll take up the scenarios. I have designed the course content, or else I would take up the concepts in such a way that when we have the requirement, means Okay, tomorrow we don't need AWS. We will not create an account tomorrow. When do you need an AWS account? Why do you need it? We will discuss that. Then we will go for an AWS account. But yes, everything will be shown from the scratch.
Ma'am, the
Complete
classes.
beginner will 2 months enough to learn DevOps. Sureka, like I said, the course is designed in such a way that it is suitable for beginners or experienced people, irrespective of from which background you are coming from. You might be a 90 person who is working from 18 years, or else you might be a completely student from science background. I'm not considering your experience or background. The course is designed in such a way that everyone will benefit the same way. So yes, this suits everyone. We have people in previous batches also who could shift their career from science to DevOps without no experience. Also experienced people like managers, like now they were looking for technical expertise as well for people management, like for a manager. So even managers were there. So just it is a new subject, that's all. When you learn new topic, how do you learn? That's it. No other prerequisites, no other backgrounds, nothing. Yes, end-to-end real scenarios projects will be covered, Sumit. The pipeline will be covered on multiple applications, including microservice application. If you get doubts, well, I think I answered it. Same Zoom link, I answered this question as well. Okay, there is one more question. Let me go through the question.
No classes from Monday to Friday, not on Saturday, Sunday?
Monday to Friday, no class on Saturday and Sunday. As it's a demo class we had on Monday, otherwise Sunday classes will be from Monday to Friday. DevOps will never be dead or obsolete. Okay, there, like I said, there were so many things over the internet. DevOps is still, companies are running after DevOps to implement methodology. How can DevOps become dead or obsolete? Without DevOps, see, now people are used to deliver the applications with a very faster rate. Suddenly, if they don't use DevOps, how is this process handled? Platform engineering is different, like infrastructure management. There were so many, like I said, see, so many designations are coming in every day. So many new terms are coming in every day. Hundreds of things. Okay. You don't worry or focus or deviated, overwhelmed by all of those things. Focus is very important here because it's a buzzword or else a buzz term or buzz technology in the market. Even now, DevOps is having huge demand. There were so many things coming up around it. Focus on one thing first. Master DevOps, that's all. Focus on one area. You master this, you get into it, then things like the designations, different terms, those were just, they come in and go away. Some of them might be there, which you should understand. When you read job description, you see so many designations. Don't get carried away by designation. You read the job description. Job description explains everything. It's not that you see job description and understand that it's all about cloud. You read by designation, you read the job description. Okay, description is the one which explains everything. Unfortunately, these days, descriptions were also not proper, but at least that's how we should go through. Don't carry away by the designations or the terms or the jargon you see or the fancy words. Try to understand the job description to understand the role. DevOps will never be obsolete, at least for coming decades. You don't need to learn Red Hat to learn Kubernetes. May I know who is this? I don't see the name. Okay, RK Reddy. To learn Kubernetes, you don't need to learn Red Hat. Okay, Red Hat is like you have a Linux environment, you get knowledge of Linux to learn all these DevOps tools. That's enough to learn Kubernetes. You don't need a Red Hat. I'm a Kubernetes certified professional. I'm not certified in Red Hat. That's quite possible and that's not required.
Madam, the question was, do we need to learn Red Hat also to operate the Kubernetes? Because in my company, there's the Red Hat OpenShift like in experience.
Not required. As I answered, not required. Red Hat is not required to learn Kubernetes. Kubernetes is no way dependent on Red Hat.
No, I agree. Like to learn Kubernetes, Red Hat is not required. My question is, after learning the Kubernetes, to work on the Kubernetes in day-to-day life, real life, do we need Red Hat? To work on
Archaeology,
Kubernetes.
like I mean, to learn mean, I always mean to work. Just learning the theory and going away doesn't work. What I mean by learning is to work on Kubernetes projects. Okay, you don't need to learn Red Hat. Okay.
Because there was a requirement. That's the reason why I asked that question.
That's what I'm saying. There were so many requirements, so many job descriptions. I'm working on Kubernetes from like more than 8 years. I'm a certified professional on Kubernetes. I work on Kubernetes setup for on-prem also. I have not seen something like I should know Red Hat or I have learned Red Hat, at least from my personal experience. And there is another question.
Yeah, please. I'm sorry.
Should DevOps complete any of the below certifications? AWS, DevOps, Kubernetes, Admin, Terraform, etc. See, certifications are never mandatory. Okay, first thing is to work or to to become a DevOps lead or to become a DevOps manager or at least to become a DevOps engineer or to get a call, because there will be notion that you should have certifications to get a to get a call for an interview. It is not mandatory. Like I said, there were so many things around all of this. You don't need certifications are not mandatory. First thing, always in the interview, they'll check for your skills, your expertise, your knowledge. Okay, that's the first thing. You gain your expertise, your knowledge. First thing. Certifications, when you should go for certification is you expertise the tool, you are very confident, you have worked on the tool for 2 to 3 years to the core, then I would suggest you to take certification. Okay, but here another thing, some of them, like some companies, because the client needs a certified professional, they may be looking just for a certified professional. They don't need knowledge also, because to show up for the client, they may just need to certified professional, right? They may be looking for certification blindly. Otherwise, when you put certification in your resume, your responsibility doubles. You should show double the expertise. Then only take up a certification and add it to your resume. But just for the sake or just we get the calls, don't add it. That's what I would suggest. But yeah, you might not have worked on it for 2 to 3 years, but you are well versed, you are so confident, you have passion for it. Take up the certification, fine. Hope I answered it, or any questions there?
Yeah, madam. That's answered. I have one more question, please, madam, which I posted in the chat again.
Okay, what is it? Can you come up, because so many questions have been scrolled?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So we have different roles in the this DevOps project, right, madam? Developer, tester, and then DevOps guy who's taking care of the infrastructure or like the pipelines, all those things. So who will like have better like his salary prospect job? From the salary or like career perspective, who will have the better one?
Obviously, DevOps engineer. Why? I'll tell you. See, I told you everyone is involved in. Developer will be involved only till they containerize it, right? Developer is, let's say an application, again an online shopping application. This application is developed in C#, let's say some .NET. Okay, developers will develop. They will write all the code. They will develop it. The way they share, they should share it to DevOps teams. How they'll share? By containerizing. Means developer, if you know Docker, that's enough. But if they know other tools, it would be good. But majorly, they should know only Docker. They need not know others. Right? Similarly, tester, they should know Docker. Even they have to spin up their environments. They have to spin up their test environment and all. To that extent only. But DevOps person, he should know end-to-end. End-to-end means, okay, developer has given you a Docker contain. They have packed their application. They containerize. From now onwards, how do you deploy on Kubernetes? How do you use Terraform to provision? How do you configure with Ansible? Monitor with Prometheus? How do you apply it on cloud or on-prem? All of that is where DevOps engineer is working. So this is where you have a huge demand for.
Okay, so this means the major portion of the work is done by the DevOps people.
Major push in the sense, the topic we were talking about is taking the application to production automatically. See, in an application, in a company, in a project, there will be so many roles. We were talking about Dev, QA, and DevOps. That's all. So many are there, right? Right? So many areas of work is there. So many things are there. So we can't say majority of the work. So many areas of there in the project. In that, we were talking about automating, taking your application to production automatically. In this area, whoever is working as DevOps engineer, this is having huge rise in the pay scale or the demand in the market right now. Development is also not small thing, right? That's a huge task, actually, I would say. They develop the application, lot of logic, they reiterate, they design the application, isn't it? That is also a huge thing. So my thing is, the focus we were doing is where DevOps comes in.
Okay, so those people, I mean, DevOps people will get like a better salary than compared to
Yes,
developer instead
developer
of
or
in spite of
anyone.
doing all the activities.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. So yeah, and having
See,
mentioned
developers are involved into their development. They are not into deploying and this CI/CDs and all, right? So this area is having huge demand or huge rise of pay scale. That's all.
okay, so this means the person with the DevOps knowledge should be trying to, I mean, should focus to get into the DevOps team. I mean, if he has opportunity to go into either of the three teams, developer, tester, or then QA. I mean, developer, tester, QA, or like in DevOps team, so you should try to get into DevOps team. That's where like in his like in future prospects lies, right, madam?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
You should become a DevOps person. If you are a developer, you'll write the .NET code, you'll work on development, you'll work on build process. Lot of work is there. That's a different thing. Once the code is ready, how are you taking to this production table automatically by implementing the tools and CI/CD? This is what is DevOps work. This is the DevOps engine. This is where you should fall in so that you'll have huge pay scale or huge demand as of now.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, madam.
The knowledge will be getting for fresher to experienced level to reconfirm. Yes, Sumit. Here we'll be covering till experience level. Okay, it's not a fresher course or a advanced course. I would not name it because I would take everything from basics till advanced. Today I started from what are developers, like who are developers, what they do. Similarly, every tool I'll start from basics till advanced. Advanced in the sense you can clear your interviews as an experienced professional till 8 years also, provided you show that expertise by learning this course, by going through this course. So how much experience you keep depends on your effort, your confidence, how much you learned, right? You have to expertise everything, whatever I have shown you.
Ma'am, we will also integrate Selenium test cases in pipeline.
Here we are integrating JUnit test cases, but whether it is JUnit or Selenium doesn't matter. The way you integrate is the thing that makes the difference. Means whether it is Selenium test cases or UFT or JMeter, the way you implement them in the pipeline would be same. Only your test cases differ. We'll be doing it with JUnit test cases.
Okay, test cases we will integrate in Jenkins.
Yes.
Okay.
And the question from Darshan is Prometheus similar to Dynatrace? Prometheus is also a monitoring tool like Dynatrace, but how Dynatrace works, what it does is different from what Prometheus does. Again, another monitoring tool. Dynatrace is another monitoring tool. So DevOps, see, DevOps is for everyone, not only for freshers or experienced people. Okay, a fresher with the DevOps skills, if you add these skills in your resume, definitely that will add edge over others. Companies need not give you separate training, right? Definitely they'll prefer you over others. So it should be developed, even freshers can learn this. Okay, knowledge of these tools, if you have, definitely you'll have a very good job prospect. I can say very great job prospect because companies don't need to spend additional time for training on you. So obviously they'll prefer you, right? So resume preparation will do that. WhatsApp support will be there even for lifetime. And you can see the salary, the pay scale for freshers and experienced people is also almost 30% hike will be there minimum for DevOps engineer. So it's the right time to invest your time. Okay, now it's very good time to learn these tools as the market is picking up. Okay, in couple of months, there'll be huge rise in the jobs as well. So it's the right time you should get ready for those openings. Be prepared, get ready. And that's all I can say. Any more questions from your end? Anything else? So that is all for the demo. Tomorrow we'll be starting with Git. Okay, how to do Git, when do you need AWS, why do you need Git, all of that questions, when, what, why, where, everything will be dealt with. As we pass by, as we go through, things fall in the place and you can connect the dots. So let's get started with the Get Tomorrow, where we'll also get started with hands-on. Any more questions? Anything else you have? You can go ahead.
Yeah, one last question.
Mm.
As a DevOps person for experience of 3 to 4 years, like how can we say in the interview perspective, like how many applications as you handle?
Are you working, Ishwar?
Yeah, SM.
Sorry?
Yeah, I'm working.
As a developer, or like what is your role? May I know your role?
So actually, I worked as a tester and I also worked for CI/CD pipelines. So that's why.
So you worked on some test project, let's say. Okay, you have worked on
Yes.
CI/CDs as well. The same project you will explain with respect to DevOps. Means, let's say 4 years experience. Let's say you are confident, you learn the course thoroughly, you have done a lot of hands-on. Hands-on is mandatory, which you should do every day with my instructions. So let's suppose, okay, you are now confident. You will explain the same project with respect to DevOps and explain the same project, test project with respect to DevOps. How whatever you have done manually, explain you have done with the DevOps. How to do that? This course will help you. Also will help you personally how to explain those things.
Okay.
Got it? Will help you prepare or modify your resume accordingly.
Okay.
And there is a question from Gopi Krishna. What is the difference between AWS, Azure, Agile? Is there any project we'll do and keep it in resume? Gopi Krishna, AWS, Azure, those are cloud environments. Agile is a software methodology. Okay, both are different. Cloud platforms and software methodologies are different. Okay, we will be implementing the projects on AWS platform. Okay, you can relate them same to your projects and explain in your interviews. If you have anything else, you can call me or message me on WhatsApp. You can reach out to Raj for further information, further things. That's all from my end. Thank you all. Have a good day. Thank you all for joining. See you all tomorrow. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Preethi.
Thank you.